Welcome to The Christian Atheist, episode number 21. Letters to my atheist self. Letter number 2. Dear John, by now you have spent a great deal of time thinking about and experiencing the world as an atheist. There is, undoubtedly, a sense of freedom in believing there is no God, isn't there? It sets you free to adopt a different set of constraints, to be sure. By now, having TA'd for several years, you have repeatedly encountered the hostility that many academics have toward fundies and any orthodox notion of the Christian faith, while at the same time embracing nearly every other type of religion and spirituality uncritically and with open arms. Surprised, weren't you, by the vitriol and intolerance of those who preach tolerance so loudly? You have also learned to keep your mouth shut about political matters, as the consequences are too dire to swim openly against the current. Duck and cover wasn't just good advice from your primary school days and the threat of nuclear war. Unless I miss my guess, you have just been labeled a scab and denounced for daring to cross the picket line of disgruntled teaching assistants at the University of California, Irvine. You had no idea that you were required to feel oppressed, instead feeling yourself amazingly blessed and grateful to be given both a tuition remission and a stipend for your work as a TA. Unforgivable, your cheek in that. How dare you recognize your blessings in the midst of so much oppression? Do you remember, by the way, how horrified your advisor was when he heard that you wanted to work while in graduate school? I must admit that I shake my 53-year-old head in amazement that you managed to work part-time, that is 30 hours per week, at Sears Auto Center in Escondido's North County Fair Mall in order to maintain health insurance, while at the same time TAing and commuting to UCI, being the maintenance man at Daisy Hill Apartment Complex in Ramona, all while still keeping up with your student responsibilities. It came as a bit of a shock to you that most other graduate students didn't work. Fancy that. You have also by now studied a great deal of Hegel with Professor Benchivenga, having read the entire Encyclopedia of the Philosophical Sciences. Stimulating stuff, isn't it? Hegel's dialectical logic is an overwhelmingly powerful and nearly universal tool adopted unconsciously by nearly the whole Western world in the years following Hegel, constantly being reinvented, as Professor Benchivenga says, by the likes of Jacques Derrida and others. You have also, by this time, begun formulating your own controversial understanding of Jean-Paul Sartre's being and nothingness as essentially Kantian in its backlash against Hegel. When you read Marx's Capital, all 3 volumes with Benchivenga, you will gain quite an insight into our current world situation. All of this material plays into what I want to say to you in today's letter. It has not dawned on you yet, but when you read Sartre's essay, Materialism and Revolution, a disconcerting realization will strike you to your core, confirming an ever-growing suspicion from the first moments of your atheism. Your path to atheism, the discovery that faith in God had unsolvable aporias, that your skepticism concerning the Christian faith received always the same patronizing answers or non-answers from the church, ran the path of frustrated certainties. You chose atheism because you wanted to avoid believing and embrace instead knowing, thinking that rationality, logic, and science could lead you to that firm foundation. What you found, instead, is that faith is a universal stance for human beings, that reality itself is often unresolvable, that it is, in fact, turtles all the way down. Faith is unavoidable. Logic is useful to reason from faith, but logic cannot give you first principles. Once you accept this basic fact, you find it most explicitly in Kant. My reality in the future becomes again possible for you, though you will not see how for another 2 decades. You thought, but by now your experience has forced you to know better, that you would find in academia and in academics a more objective, less biased, more open and truly tolerant vision of the world. What you found instead was that people are people in all human institutions, and that the blindness, bias, and arrogant ignorance that you thought characterized Christianity and Christians is, if anything, even worse in academia. The choice between theism and atheism is not a matter of deciding between knowledge and faith, but between competing faith visions. This was your most compelling reason to abandon Christianity in the pursuit of truth. But don't fret, atheism is still tenable for you, and you have decades of travel on this path before an off-ramp presents itself. If this time portal again opens, I will try to send more of these missives your way. Yours truly, Dr. John Wise. I thought you might like to know that. Eventually, you do get your PhD. If this is the first Christian atheist you've seen, please subscribe below to be sure that you don't miss any episodes. You can also catch up by visiting our YouTube channel. See you next week. First, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. And let us know what you'd like to hear from us by commenting. Wise Words for Your Occasion is located in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, but we're willing to travel. For inquiries or to book an occasion, go to wisewordsforyouroccasion.wordpress.com or see us on Facebook or check out our YouTube channel. You'll find links to all 3 in this post.